So let's have a look at what's going on with the planets. Basically, the astrological symbols for the planets are built on three basic symbols. The circle, which reflects spirit, the cross, which reflects matter, and the semicircle, which can be said to reflect the soul, or our receptivity, or the interface between spirit and matter. And understanding these three symbols will actually give an understanding of every single planet. Although the planets have got a tremendous spectrum of meanings, each of them. And so if we look at the sun is what we use in sun science. In other words, it's easy to predict where the sun is. If you know your date of birth, you know where the sun is. You don't know where the moon is or anything else unless you have a planetary ephemeris, which is the table like this, which will show you exactly where all the planets are on your particular date of birth. But normally, of course, today we'll use a computer program for that. So the sun is our star. And as the star, it's what gives life to us and life to the solar system. And the feeling we have with the sun is that it's who we are. It's the core of our identity. It's who we identify with. It's our self. And so the way that the sun is in the horoscope, whatever sign it is, it's the way we identify ourselves. So if the sun is in Virgo, we identify ourselves as a helpful person who facilitates projects, whereas if the sun is in Scorpio, we'll see ourselves more as an emotionally intense person demanding authenticity in relationships, for example. And in our lives around us, there's different archetypes that reflect the sun, and the first archetype would be God, in a sense. The sun is God. As the Hopi Indians say, the sun is God, anybody can see that. It's just giving life to everything. And also, for us, the sun is like our inner God, or the inner core of identity, which is like beyond personality. Also, you could say that Tibetan Buddhists have got this kind of completely worked out. Mandalas are a way of showing how to get to the core of identity. And this is a very, very beautiful sand mandala that's been created in Nepal, I believe. They actually make this from small grains of sand, and then they pour it away afterwards to show that identity, what we see as our personal identity, is in fact something that dissolves in time, and we're constantly evolving. Furthermore, the sun is like our father. If you look at the sun in the horoscope, you get, through the sign and the aspects that it makes, you get a pretty good picture of how we experience the father. So the sun is going to be ourself as a father when we become a father, or it's going to be the way we see our father. And when we're kind of born and we're so attached to our fathers represent at least traditionally speaking, somebody who has a tremendous power and tremendous independence. He comes in, he comes out, and we want to emulate him in some way or another. So you can actually see in the horoscope pretty much the relationship with the father through the sun and its aspects. Very interesting. And the sun is also like taking a selfie. If we were to describe ourselves, we'd almost certainly describe the sun. If you're a Cancer, you'll say, well, I'm a very emotional and sensitive person. I believe strongly in the family, and I want to nurture my family and protect my home. That would be a kind of Cancer selfie, if you like. The moon is a total contrast to this, but how interesting it is that the sun and the moon, seen from the earth, are the same size. They're exactly the same size. If the moon was a bit smaller or a bit further away, it wouldn't be. But because they're the same size, they it makes it possible for there to be a complete eclipse of the sun. An eclipse of the sun is the perfect alignment of the sun and the moon, and it happens twice a year. So the moon is made for the night time, just like the sun is made for the day, and as such, the moon represents our unconscious. It represents the dream world. It represents instincts. It represents all the things that we aren't totally conscious. They become habit. We build them up through time, just like the moon, which goes through different rhythms during the course of the month, as we can see in this rather beautiful NASA video. The phases of the moon. The phases of the moon really reflect this fluctuating feelings that become more or less intense during the course of a day or a month. So the moon is it changes all the time, and in our horoscopes the moon shows how we're affected by impressions constantly, and how we adapt and really just have unconscious reactions to and instinctive reactions to the stimuli that come. And so the moon is partly this unconscious. Here's a picture of Freud and a big picture of Freud. Freud was the guy who really discovered that there was something happening inside of us we weren't conscious of, and he mapped it, and he wrote so many psychological books about the nature of the unconscious, and mapped it out, and really showed that there was far more going on inside of us than we realized. And another thing about the moon, I think, is very well reflected by Salvador Dali, and this kind of nighttime imagery where anything can be almost anything, and time is relative, and it's just a shifting states of being. So a very good illustration of the unconscious mind here. But the moon is also like our mother, just as the sun is like our father. The moon is who we, as babies, we merge with the mother. We're maybe breastfed. We consider the mother a part of us and just do not like the mother to disappear in any way whatsoever. We're totally attached. We're totally merged. And that attachment and that merging is reflected in the moon, by the moon, in the horoscope. And you can see in the horoscope, through the signs and aspects that the moon makes, you can see what kind of challenges or difficulties or blessings there were in connection with the mother. It's pretty easy to see the relationship to the mother that the person in the horoscope has. So the moon is also like your home is your castle. The moon, because the moon gives you this awareness of vulnerability and anything can change all the time, there's this tremendous urge to create a home and to create solid walls which you can protect yourself behind. So the moon is very much connected with trying to find security, and the moon in your horoscope will show to what extent you did find security.